All right, everybody. I'd like to welcome Vitor Ferreira to Krav Life. Welcome, sir. How are you doing?
Welcome, welcome me.
Welcome yourself.
I'm good. I'm good. Yeah, thank you for having me here. Yeah, of course.
Nice. So, so tell us a little bit about, like, first off, where are you located?
Yeah, we are in Montreal, Canada, obviously, right in the center, really close to like one of the main spots. It's Place des Arts, so it's very central. It's a small studio that we have because first I decided to do like few spots. Different spots, 2-3 spots, to give classes different ways in different places. But I decided in 2017, around that, to just keep one place and almost be the headquarters of the MKM Canada. Yeah.
Okay. And how long has MKM been there in Montreal?
Well, since I came, so I arrived from Portugal in 2013. So since then, I came exactly to open that.
Okay, so you came specifically to open the Krav Maga studio. Okay,
yeah, exactly.
And was Krav Maga the only martial art you've ever done, or did you have a prior experience to take?
Oh no, I start very young. I start with probably 10 years old, even less than that. And the funny thing, usually I hear stories, people saying, oh yeah, I went to martial arts because I was bullied. And for me, it was exactly not the opposite, because I wasn't a bully. No, but I was a brat. I was a kind of, the kind of kids that they always have the last word to say, always talking back, and almost like a smarty pants. So I was like this, and my parents, oh yeah, you are like that, so go to karate. And I was, why, like the suits and all that. At first I was I don't know exactly, but it was an amazing school. Amazing. I learned a lot about discipline, hierarchy, responsibility, respect, all that major values that usually kids, they don't care. I learned very early, like it was 9-10 years old. It was amazing. So I did Shotokan, karate, and I did it for 20 years. Then I did also ninjutsu, just for 2 years, just to train different things. So yeah, I start very early.
Oh, nice. And so how were you introduced to Krav Maga? Like, where did that come in?
Yeah, it was almost like a coincidence, because I had a photo studio in Portugal, because I'm also a photographer. And at that, of course, I knew Krav Maga. It was the end of 90s, beginning of 2000. I knew from websites and everything, because it wasn't very popular at the time in Portugal. And there was a guy teaching Krav Maga in very close in the place that I had my studio. And he invited some martial artists to do like a 3 months workshop, Krav Maga workshop. And that sounds cool. So I did that 3 months. And after that 3 months, I just stopped teaching karate to train Krav Maga. It was like 180 degrees, and it was amazing. Amazing, yeah.
Oh, nice. And then after that, it was just kind of like always doing Krav Maga.
Oh yeah. Until today, I switched some. First, I was training with Krav Maga Academy. Then I switched for the European Federation in Portugal, and I stayed until I came to Canada, 2013. Yeah, it's been 20 years, 21 almost.
Yeah. Oh wow, nice.
Yeah.
So you took this training course. And obviously, what was it about Krav Maga that made you go, sorry, karate, I'm coming over to Krav Maga?
I think the approach that Krav Maga has to the situation. So it's usually what I say to my students when they don't know what Krav Maga is. Usually what I say, it's the ugliest self-defense system in the world, because we don't like colorful stuff. We don't like flowers. It is what it is. It's very realistic. It's very efficient. And I like that. I like understanding. When I train some technique, I have to understand, and I like to understand immediately why I'm doing certain technique. I like to see the effect the immediate effect. So not just doing a weird movement and then realizing 2 years after, oh, I'm doing this because this and this. No, because people train much better if they understand. For me, it was exactly that. Every technique that I was training, I understood perfectly. In this situation, I do this, period. And very simple movements, not easy, but simple movements. And mostly was that very, very direct, very, very realistic. Yeah.
I agree. That's pretty much the same reason I got involved with Krav Maga as well. Is just it was so simple. I also come from a karate background,
Oh, yeah.
and yeah, it was Goju-Ryu, but yeah, it's the simplicity of it and how simple everything is, and that's the way self-defense should be.
Exactly.
So go ahead.
No, yeah, and the funny thing is, coming from 20 years of karate, in karate and any martial art, or you do things right or you do wrong. There's nothing in between. So you cannot do an adjustment to a technique because the technique is like that, period. Krav Maga, it's exactly the opposite. Krav Maga, it has to be efficient. Yes, of course, there's a structure, but depending on the person, you can adjust to the situation, to the student, and even to the attacker. If the attacker has, I don't know, 7 feet, it's different the technique, or if you do with 5'10" or whatever. So this being a chameleon, I like that. This adjustment, it's very, very nice.
Yes, the other thing that I like about Krav Maga is how ready they are to, or how ready we are to get rid of a self-defense if we find something better.
Oh yeah.
Right. There's no real tradition where it's like, oh no, my instructor did it this way, his instructor did it this way, his instructor did this, so this is the way we do it. It's if you can prove that this works better, then it works better.
Yeah. Usually I say to my students, probably you will never hear me saying you cannot do that unless it doesn't work.
Yeah.
If it doesn't work, perfect. But I would never say, okay, you cannot bite because it's not allowed. Or yeah, if you feel that the hand or the something is there and you can bite, go ahead. You have to survive, period.
So how popular is was Krav Maga in Portugal at the time that you left? Like, was it very popular?
Very popular. I think Europe, it's way more, when I say advanced, I will say advanced, but not in a technical part. It's more the number of schools, number of students and everything, instructors. We have, at the time, just the European Federation that I was training before had, I don't know the numbers, but something like, just in Lisbon, that I was in Lisbon, we had, I'm going to just throw a number, like 20 schools easily in Lisbon. I arrived in 2013 in Montreal thinking, okay, yeah, Canada, probably a little more advanced. And I found like 2 small schools, 3 people technically not very advanced. They were training like that and from probably the 90s, and they kept, so they didn't evolve. And I was very, very surprised because at the beginning, the conversation that I had with all the people is trying to explain what Krav Maga is. In Portugal, no, it's just, oh, I teach Krav Maga. Oh, cool. I want to try. I want to try. Here, okay, first let's spend 15 minutes explaining what Krav Maga is. Then you will try. Yeah. Now it was a surprise, actually.
Yeah, and the situation hasn't changed much because I'm also Canadian, and I'm not that far south. I'm maybe 6-7 hours south of you, and I don't even know if there's much more than 20 schools between you and I.
Probably, right? Yeah, probably.
Like I know there's a few. There's probably more than 20. There's probably like 40 or 50, but that's a population of 14 million from where you are to where I am.
Yeah.
And there's maybe 50 schools. Like you go to the States and there might be 50 schools in one little city.
Yeah, it is. It is.
So
yeah.
So I don't know why it's not that big here, but I have the same the same problem that I have to explain what Krav Maga is to people.
Yeah.
Now, with there being so many more schools in Portugal and in Europe in general, that has to give you access to much higher level instructors, like people that you train with. Would you find that is the case?
Yeah, it is. It is. And the federation that I was training before, all well, not all, we could do exams in our own country, but I decided to do my advanced exams in Paris because the headquarters is in Paris, Richard Duyeb. And just in that place, it usually it's like a full weekend, 3 days seminar. And there was, not exaggerating, like 200 people there from Poland, England, France, Belgium, Portugal, Spain, so many countries. And it's very good to almost like to make everyone to teach the same way, learn the same way, but at the same time, everyone is different. Everyone has different backgrounds. Everyone has different experience. Even each country has different problems. For example, in Portugal and here, for example, I'm not gonna teach a defense against a machete, for example.
Right.
I can talk about that one day, like in a special class, but it's nothing that it's in my curriculum to teach, because it's not common. How many machetes do I see there? None. I didn't see a machine gun, for example. Yes, we have in our curriculum, in a very advanced one, but it's something that I'm not too worried at the beginning. If I go and teach in, I don't want to say any kind of, but one country that I know that, okay, Angola, for example.
Angola,
I know that, yeah, it's very common, a machete, and that's it.
Yeah.
So this should be probably one of the first techniques that we have to learn. So this kind of change, I think it's very interesting, and that's why it's important to train with different people, different background, people good on the floor, good kicking, punching. Go ahead, train as different things as you can. That's why Krav Maga is so good, because we can actually do train and fight in different scenarios.
Yeah, well, that's exactly it, right? So different areas should be training differently. Yeah. Right, because it's like we're not going to get attacked the same way that we would in certain American cities, or over in the Middle East, or like I was telling a different person, we only had our first carjacking like a few weeks ago, right? And it's just well, so why am I going to spend a lot of my curriculum time teaching carjacking when it's not a reality here, right? We teach it because it's good to know in case in case it happens, because the principles are all the same across the board. But we're not going to drill it until you know it reflexively, because it's never going to happen. Now, if I was in South Africa, where that happens every day, right, that's a different story. That would become a huge part of the curriculum, and I definitely agree with you there. So what sort of trainings have you been to or done there in Europe? Because I'm really interested in like the access, right? So do you get a lot of Israeli instructors coming over and
no, actually, I met them in Portugal. I went to Portugal because, they almost like halfway. I was planning to go to Israel last year, but we all know what last year brought. So there's a few instructors that I want to bring here, but first I wanted to create like a big support in my school. Like I'm talking about between 50, 60, 70 students. And before we closed because COVID, we had that number, and that point on, I can actually bring someone, because it makes more sense, because it's expensive. We know that it's expensive to bring. I talked with Vivid Cohen, I talked with Amnon Darsa, I talked with Haim Sasson. So there's a few that can actually come here, but now everything has to be clear. We know this, but yes, that's one of my goals. And actually, probably before that, I will bring some of my students to Israel, because we were talking about that, the most advanced ones. I think it's going to be a good experience, exactly to show the different reality, why Krav Maga was created so efficient.
Yeah.
They have to understand the reality.
Yeah, Israel is definitely one on my bucket list to go and train at Wingate and all that stuff.
Okay, let's schedule that. Let's
we should,
all of
right?
Yeah, why not?
we're not that far. It's like, and we know that if I get onto an airplane in Toronto, it's probably going to land in Montreal anyway.
Montreal.
And then
or the opposite. Or the opposite.
Or the
Sometimes
opposite.
comes. Yeah.
So we're going to end up on the same plane anyway. Yeah, we definitely should do that. Once things are more open.
Mm-hmm.
So when you're teaching your students, then, because we talked about how the reality in Montreal is different than the reality elsewhere. Are there certain things, like what would be your philosophy in teaching your students? Like, what do you emphasize when you're teaching them?
I'm a very physical guy. When I say this, means it's not just about the technique, because everyone knows, and it's not just in martial arts or fighting systems, that when you actually have to act, you will use 20% what you trained, because stress, everything. So means what? As soon as you have a situation, your heart is going to beat so fast. You're gonna have a tunnel vision. You don't think as clearly. So means you have to train physically enough to maintain that level of pulses, basically. So I train physically. My trains are very physical, but at the same time, this, even if it's a little harder at the beginning, because they are so tired that they don't think so much about the technique, in like a medium term, they will find advantages. Means they are fighting for 2 minutes instead of stop thinking after 30 seconds. It's going to be after 1 minute and a half. They feel very tired. So what I actually do is, like I said, 1 hour and a half class, just to do that physical part. Then I divide my class, just like I think everyone does, beginners and non-beginners, because might be the same situation, but the beginners, they cannot train the same way. So step by step, trying to show the beginners how simple the technique should be. And then at the same time, they look to the side, they see the advanced people doing that simple technique, but in an efficient way. So they feel that, oh, actually, I don't need to jump around to do a good technique. So actually, it's simple. So I try to explain every technique exactly like I said at the beginning. When you understand the technique, it's very easy to train, because you visualize the situation. And I try to explain as much as I can. And I think until now it's working, because fortunately I have students giving me the feedback that yes, it's perfect, because I can understand why I'm doing some kind of techniques. Yeah.
Nice. All right. And now, do you find that that your Shotokan training did it help you learn Krav Maga better, or did it get in the way of your learning Krav Maga?
Both ways, actually. Yeah. So help me flexibility, the speed, power, and like I said, the respect, the discipline, for sure. But then there was the reverse side. Karate, any Asian martial arts, they are very stiff. It's very 1 2 1 2, so it's not fluid. The guard is not as high as Krav Maga, so I had to adjust a bunch of things, but it's easy adjustments. When you have some technique, it's kind of, well, I said easy, not easy, but very doable. From this guard to this guard, yeah, okay, you take 3 4 kicks to the face, you remember to raise your hands. It's easy.
Yeah. Yeah. So it's experience is the best teacher.
Oh yeah, oh yeah. And another thing that actually helped me a lot the way I teach was because I went to the army in Portugal, and I was in special forces, and uh, in any country special forces are very strict.
Mhm.
So that discipline I actually passed to my class, not in a very like a very demanding. No, it's not. It's more like um, showing that. Oh, for example, I have a good example. I had already 2 or 3 students. They start training, and their behavior was kind of messing with the vibe of the group.
Mhm.
And if I didn't care about that, if I only care about the money, it's one more subscription, I don't give a crap. So I would say, okay, yeah, just deal with that. But I felt that that only student was was messing with the vibe, and I immediately said, okay, or you change or you don't train here. This is something that I learned in the army, for example. If you don't belong to the group, you are out,
Yeah.
period. Because I prefer to lose a student than lose a group. And for that, I have probably 50-50 women and men in my class,
Mhm.
ages from teenagers to, I don't know, 60, 70. Um, so all of them, they train, they have the same goal. Even if it's not the same reasons that they start training, they have the same goal, is being
Yeah.
healthy, protect themselves, obviously, improving self-confidence, everything. So it's not just a teenager that might be bullied in school, but the person with 70 years old, he also is bullied outside. It's the lady that comes because at home, probably, I'm not saying this is the case, but
Yeah.
might happen, the husband is we know
Yeah.
what happened,
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
especially with COVID, so I don't need to say. But so many things happen that sometimes they are like covered by fake reality, the fake
Mhm.
social media reality. Good pictures, smiling. She took a picture, and then she stopped smiling and uncovered the bruises, probably. So all of this Krav Maga, it's an amazing, well, not just Krav Maga, but we are talking Krav Maga, and I think it's we should keep there that when people start training Krav Maga, it's they have different reasons, but all of them, they go in the same direction. That's why
Mhm.
group classes, they work because of that.
Exactly. Um, Now, Krav also is about making, because like one self defense that works for one person might have to be modified for another person. Like Krav Maga is it's a group activity, but it's also very personal,
Yeah, it
right?
is. It is.
Because the way I would do something is not necessarily the way someone else would do it, because height difference and even down to mentality.
Mhm.
Um, how do you help your students um, individualize their Krav Maga?
It's exactly like I was saying before.
Mm-hmm.
So the scenario might be similar, but if the people are different, so one student that, imagine, trained before taekwondo, okay,
Mm-hmm.
they kick like crazy, probably they are faster doing kicks than other people doing punches. So we can adjust the technique, the situation to the person. Of course, if we have a certain situation to train and we have to do that technique, of course we do the technique. But usually at the end of the technique, depending on the reaction of the attacker, if I punch hard, the person goes back. If I punch weaker, probably the person is going to stay there. So I cannot react the same way. And I have students with zero flexibility. And when I say zero, it's kicks to the groin is hard. So why not kicking to the tibia, for example? Why not focusing? It's the same technique. It's still a kick, but instead of kicking a little higher, kick a little lower. If someone has problems bending the wrist, for example, okay, try to do something else, try to help with the other hand. That's why I like this this gray area that Krav Maga is working. So it's not white or black, is the gray area in between, that we can adjust the technique to the person. And it's actually easier than it seems, because if you understand the difficulties of people and you try to adjust the technique to that person, instead of being like a donkey or a horse with with now, some people are like that. Okay, I have to train this situation and it's this, period. I understand, I don't agree, I understand, but we have to know that people, they're going to be frustrated because I can't kick to the head, imagine. I can't. Oh no, you have to train flexibility. Oh, come on. Yeah, a person with 65 years old, never did anything in his life, now is going to train what, 2 years flexibility just to kick to the head. People, they have to adjust a little the techniques to the people, and Krav Maga allows that, of course.
Yes, so perfect. Now, you mentioned like there's different situations why people train, right? Have you found that people are more stressed out now because of going through COVID? Do you find that there's more aggression out there? Like people just they're tense. It feels like a pot that's going to boil.
Yeah, they are, absolutely. All the emails that I receive for private and semi-private classes, because until now here in Quebec is the only thing that we can do with contact. It's almost like I'm exaggerating, but begging. Okay, can we train something? Because people want to release that stress, that okay, it was more than 1 year inside doing nothing, probably not working from home and not doing exercise, because at home everyone knows, or you have like you are very disciplined, or you don't train, you just sit on the couch and watch Netflix. So people are really eager to start training. Group classes, I receive, and every day I receive like at least 10-15 emails saying, okay, can we start yet? No, not yet, we have to pass green zone, blah blah. People are really eager to start training, and I think it's because of that, for sure.
And have you noticed, is there, because with some of the people that I've talked to, they're noticing that there's been an increase in violence just in general, where they are. Are you finding that in Montreal? Is there an increase in violence?
Yeah, it's connected. It's the same reasons. Normal person feels stressed, feels frustrated, tries to search for a gym, for martial arts, for self-defense systems. Other people, not so normal, they just do what they shouldn't. They like road rage, domestic violence. We see that. I'm driving every day and I see perfectly people's reaction when, for example, imagine I forgot my blinkers. I forgot for some reason. Oh my God. It looks like South America, and fingers up, and this is something new in Montreal, and in general. I think all Canadians are known as very polite. I feel that this is decreasing a lot. I hope things are going to recover, but yeah, people are they boil very easily now.
No doubt that's related to being cooped up, right?
Not stress,
and not being allowed to go out, not being allowed to, see family and friends. It's gotta have a point at some point where it's going to affect you mentally, right?
No, of course.
All right.
Yeah,
awesome.
And if you don't have the support of a group, whatever the group is, might be. I'm talking about Krav Maga or martial arts because it's you release stress, you punch, you kick, so you finish the class tired physically, but your brain is complete like new. But can be dancing, can be yoga, can be any physical activity or a group activity. If you miss that, if you don't have that, it's going to be hard to recover. That's why so many people depressed, and of course.
Now, do you teach both adults and children?
Right now, well, before COVID, I was doing both. I want to focus way more adults, and I have a reason for that, because I love kids, obviously, and they are very easy to train. Not easy. The training is not easy because they are running everywhere, but they are easy because they want to learn. But the problem is, I have to adjust too much Krav Maga techniques to the kids, because they have to understand that, okay, stick the fingers in the eyes, careful, kick to the groin. So we have always to adjust, because they don't understand the reality like we do. So because I prefer, for now, a little more direct approach to Krav Maga, I will pause kids class, because all this, so I think it's a good timing. And then, because I'm building a network of schools, because I have already some students that soon they're going to be instructors, then if someone wants, yes, we're going to have like a specific department for kids class.
Perfect. All right, so if someone wanted to get a hold of you and set up some private lessons, and then eventually go to group classes once everything is open, how would they get in contact with you?
Yeah, we have our website, mkmcanada.com. We have social media, Facebook, Instagram is also the same name, mkmcanada.com. The only thing different that we did during this COVID, now we have a Patreon page where I post every week at least 1-2 videos explaining some technique. This way, obviously, Patreon people subscribe with something that there's no minimum limit, help the school, and at the same time they can refresh some technique. And usually I post these videos. It's the only thing different. But best way, website, email, obviously, info@mkmcanada.com. For now, we are doing private and semi-private classes. We will restart probably the end of this month group classes, but it's not certain. And this year, I think it's going to be the first time that I say publicly, this year we're gonna spread a little our wings. So I will give a few seminars outside Montreal. So we're gonna go like slowly outside Quebec. So we're gonna do this year for sure. Next year for sure. This year, almost sure. So we have already some contact. So it's gonna be good.
Good. Well, when you do that, would love to have you back on so that you could talk about it, and,
of course.
Hopefully get some more people out to those seminars. So we'll post that information as well underneath the videos for you.
Cool.
It's been great talking to you.
You too. Thank you.
You're not that far away from me, so maybe my wife and I will come up and we can do some training.
Yeah, give me a call, of course.
Perfect. All right. Well, thank you, Victor, and
thank you,
and you have yourself a good day and good luck with